Tech Snippets Today with Joseph Raczynski.
Bill, thank you so much for joining today. We're at Consensus 2025. You're CEO of Spexi. Looking forward to this conversation. So first and foremost, I'd love to hear a little bit about yourself and then what led you to becoming CEO there, and then we'll definitely get into the company itself.
Yeah, all right, sounds great. Excited to be here. That's awesome. Glad it's in Toronto and the country I'm in, so Vancouver-based guy. I've been in aerial mapping for quite a long time now, actually. Flying with fixed-wing aircraft and large format mapping cameras all over North America and the world, collecting data that you would see in Google Earth. A lot of what you see in Google Earth could have come from one of my planes. So I've got that kind of background.
Wow.
And it's a hard one to scale. You can buy another plane, you can buy another sensor, you can go farther, but that's not true scale. And it's how do we level up this space? What do we do to disrupt the space? And what kind of technology advancements can we bring to the table here, right? And watching drone technology evolve over the years and becoming more and more capable.
Yeah.
Actually, in 2018, I decided to sell one of my last photo companies.
Okay.
Aircraft, everything gone.
Wow.
Made a complete switch into the drone space.
All right.
And started building software to be able to kind of crowdsource drone pilots. So how do you fly, for me, I'm in Vancouver, how do I fly the city of Vancouver in a day with a decentralized network of pilots?
Sure.
What do you need to do that? And so I started building technology with my team. In 2018, we started coding. Kind of early then, drone regulations were still a little bit wild and hard to work within, and the drone technology wasn't as capable as it is today. Nobody wants large drones flying over cities all the time.
Right.
Now with micro drones, online, 2021 in the time period they start coming online, we can automate them, and we're getting better data out of them than we get out of a $2 million mapping camera.
Unbelievable.
It's like the time arrived, you know what I mean? And so we were like, okay, this is go time. And before that, we built a technology stack to a place where we could crowdsource pilots, automate flights completely, easy uploads, process Google Earth type products, 3D models, and then deliver that to clients. So we had a bunch of government clients, regulators, like Enter Canada, and cities, and different groups of people using our software to manage their own pilots, which is kind of cool, paid for R&D. But no, it was time to actually go back to the vision. It's time to scale this sucker, right? And we saw actually what Helium was doing at that same moment in time. We're like, holy cow, that model really fits into what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And actually, blockchain solves some other problems, not just the supply side, accelerating the supply side through that ownership economy, but we actually have a proof of capture component baked into our system that authenticates the data and makes it immutable and
fascinating.
And because we're using decentralized hardware, DJI minis, and we're automating them, and pilots show up to what we call a Spexagon, which is it's like a spatial hexagon. Basically, it's a hexagon about 25 acres in size. They have an embedded flight mission right inside them. And so pilots show up and they hit a fly button on their phone, and our app flies the drone. It's like our app driving the Uber car as well, right? Flies the drone, takes the photos in a way that we can create mapping products from that imagery, just like airplanes do.
Just using waypoints or something like that?
We set waypoints, and then there's actions between waypoints.
Okay.
Using microdrones is a little bit more complex. Actually, this is why there's very few people that automate microdrones, because it's a different kind of technology.
I didn't know that part. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's so we've basically implemented that for flight automation, remove the friction out of the system, and then we can get passionate, hobbyists that love flying drones. They're everywhere in the world. Every corner of the earth has people with micro drones.
Unbelievable.
That we can access, and we can create a flight earn model where we can incent them to actually capture their own city, right?
Wow.
And that started happening. We did a seed round back in 2022, closed at just last December. We launched this new network actually just over a year ago, and doing it this way, we've flown. There's about almost 4,000 pilots that have contributed to the system.
Amazing.
And over almost 110,000 individual flights. So that's 3.5 million acres of data coverage at a resolution that doesn't even compete with satellite.
I was wondering, that's the part I was so curious about, is just that, because I've been flying for drones for years. The original Phantom, we talked about this. Now I have a Mini, I had a Mavic at some point in time with DJI. But the quality, I'm assuming 4K resolution, and you're saying it's better than the satellite.
Oh yeah, satellites, and I don't I guess we got to go inches because we're, most of the audience is probably in inches. I'm in centimeters, but it's about at least 10 to, and depending on the satellites, 30 to like 90 times better in resolution.
Fantastic. Okay.
So it's a significant step change in the status quo of data out there. And same with aircraft. It's significantly higher resolution than what you get from aircraft at scale. And it's a decentralized network, so it's a completely different cost structure that really bucks that traditional system of data collection.
Okay.
And because pilots are distributed, globally and not just in concentrated cities, they're in every little community in small towns. Now small towns and communities actually have a way to actually map their own little small towns where they can't afford to get an airplane out there.
Yeah.
And the cities can actually use that data for their GIS systems, so their mapping systems internally. So it unlocks a whole new set of users.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So think about like use cases. I think that's a very good one.
Yeah.
What other ones are out there that people probably could wrap their heads around?
Yeah, I mean, there's a traditional market that we dip into that this is like makes perfect sense. Cities for one, because they already use the data. This is just a higher quality one that they can refresh on demand, which is kind of a new trigger they've never had before, right? And then so they pay us, and we actually in turn pay their own citizens to fly it for them. We give them the software platform to make that happen and deliver it into their mapping systems in a way that they can actually ingest and use it. So it's kind of like a no-brainer win-win for cities. We get enough cities, we get coverage, then we get utility companies that are starting to look at this. So like hydros and telcos, you've got enough area, you get even broader coverage, you got insurance companies, more traditional markets that are already using aerial data, and this is just a higher resolution product. And so they can do more with it because they train AI to look for things as opposed to humans looking for things, for underwriting and a whole bunch of different purposes of why AI is trained to help augment workflows. And our data fits into that so well, which is great. But again, once we get to even broader critical mass of data, then we get like the ones that we're really targeting. Like our go-to-market is very much focused on spatial AI, spatial computing, metaverse applications, large geospatial models, which is like an LLM, right? But it's a geospatially charged LLM. So you could think of like, every computer system, your phone, everything has got connected to a very up-to-date 3D model, super high fidelity 3D model of the planet, and it can use that as a reference, right, to work against and task and ask questions, and how many windows, what are the size of the windows,
oh my God,
what type of roof is that, where are the trees encroaching my power lines, where you start to interact, and then self-driving cars and robots on streets and drones or robots, they start to update this on the fly, right? So then if there's construction around this corner, the model gets updated and instantly the routing gets changed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because that sort of thing is being updated on the fly. So
fantastic.
That's the type of thing we're working for long term, but there's an iterative step to get there, and we kind of we're focused on what that is.
Are there certain jurisdictions that you're primarily focusing on, whether it's in Canada or the US or beyond those borders?
Yeah, I mean we're Canadian based, so we obviously started in Canada. In the last year, we've flown almost 200 cities and towns in North America.
Okay.
And actually, the majority of those are now in the US.
All right.
So we have a very big go-to-market in covering US cities. And we're flying Toronto right now. That actually launched last Friday, and I think it's almost done.
Oh my God. All right, fantastic.
It's quite spectacular to see kind of how the pilot network responds to this. Because some of these pilots are making $500 to $1,000 a day, right? So they can pay off their drone in like 1 to 2 days.
Oh, no doubt.
And we're not trying to get people to go out and buy drones and do this for a living. These are passionate pilots that just want, it's like, wow, I can make a little bit of money on the side and fly my drone. It's fun. It gives me something to do. It's meaningful. It's like, it's a win-win, right?
Yeah. So how does that work? Is there a tokenomics model that you have?
Yeah, there is. We've been working on that for quite some time. Aside from the blockchain element where we authenticate each hex, each spexagon, as a soul-bound NFT that's attributed to the pilot that's collected at the moment that it captures, so that they can't upload spoof data. It's our way of like, creating immutable data that can't be tampered with, essentially. So that's that component, of course, and it's solved the problem for us. And a tokenized economy also solves the problem of scale, because like I said, now that we're seeing the signals for these large LGM, spatial AI, computing type organizations that just need massive amounts of data, we're able to actually increase supply in a very meaningful way through that system, right? So we will be adopting a token through Layer Drone Foundation, which has been recently launched. It's kind of the protocol, the capture protocol is what that is. And that's working through its process right now to sort of get itself into a state of readiness for launching a token and shifting the model.
Very neat. There. So are you all on like a layer 2, or are you going to, like, which ecosystem are you on?
Base. So layer 2.
So you're going to be on an Ethereum base. Okay, excellent. Yeah. Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
What does the future look like? What do you see the next several years in this evolving to?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of iterative growth. I mean, we're a little bit of a different model, right, than most deepins out there. We're put in the deepin category.
Yes.
We do, there's more. It's not a set it and forget it kind of a platform that we have or network that we have. It's like, there's actual action. People actually have to go do things, right? And so there's a little bit more activity involved, although they want to do it because it's fun. So that's not hard. But we're very focused on the demand and focused on the business. Like that is the core of what the company is and does and eats, sleeps, and breathes. So we expand the network in relationship to the business needs. And so it's a little bit of a different strategy than let's just open up all North America and let's go. So it's and as well as new geographies, right? But I see within the next year having North America covered. We're already starting to move into Europe now. We're starting to do flights in the London area and as well as in Mexico.
Oh my God.
And so we're kind of starting to work into different regions already.
Okay.
And just to get those signals, so it's lean into the network and let it go in those new territories. So.
Amazing. Well, anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, I think.
I bet.
Yeah. I mean, I found it a really interesting sort of time for a company like ours, and because I've been in this space for quite a while, quite honest, and I've been actually trying to solve this problem for a long time. I've been trying to solve it with airplanes. Yep. I've been trying to solve it in different ways, and I think it's so interesting because where technology has been able to get us to, and some of these complementary technologies. So our data married with AI, married with blockchain. Yeah. It's like those things coming together at the same kind of moment in time, they're hitting a threshold of acceptance and amplifying each other to a level that was just never achievable before. They marry so perfectly, and we're kind of at a prime position to put those together. The data we collect is so rich in information. There's just so much detail in there that we could decentralize the detail extraction from that as well. And just I think we're just scratching the surface about how much we can do in that way, right? And so I find that to be extremely exciting, and I'm so excited about it because I've been working on this for a long time, right? So, and finally, this is just something that can really scale here, and that's kind of what we're all about.
No, I get it. I mean, I feel the same passion about the entire space. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I've been in emerging technology for the last 15 years, but really talking about it for the last 10. And they were all siloed. So when I talked or gave talks to groups about AI 10 years ago, people would roll their eyes there's no way that AI is going to affect me as an attorney or in fintech. They're like, it's one of those things. And then all of a sudden, you've been talking about blockchain, the same sort of thing, but as you just said, everything is coming together. And it could be any space whatsoever. It could be cybersecurity, but this is a great example of that. And it's a perfect thing that just starts to come together. You're like, all right, this makes a lot of sense. It'll work. It'll hopefully benefit people around the world. People that are working on things, they're gonna get paid for that. Yeah. And they're passionate about that project. So it all comes together really quite nicely. Yeah. So, hey, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Tech Snippets Today with Joseph Raczynski.